Everyone, I don't know if you can hear me. This is a Tired Monkey commentating. It's pretty late where I am, it's nearly 2 AM, but I used to play these games once upon a time, so I thought I'd offer to commentate on these guys, and yeah, just provide a bit of commentary for you to listen to while you watch them play some really good Mega Man. Okay, so looks like they're pretty close. So we've both got them doing Magnet first on Mega Man 3 by the looks of it. Not too sure what's happened to MrCab. I must have missed that when I was getting set up, but possibly he's had a death, because I know he was a lot closer to where MadMega was. Ooh. Pretty dodgy for him at the moment. Ooh, just about gets the Magnet Man fight. It is a really tricky fight in a no reset situation, Magnet Man, just because obviously when you're doing speedruns of it, you're just taking damage boosts off him all the time, and if you don't get the right pattern, you just end up resetting because he's the first boss. But obviously you don't have that option in a race scenario, so yeah, you can lose a lot of time in a race, whereas you wouldn't do in a normal RTA situation. So let's see, we've got MadMega about 3/4 of a stage ahead at the moment. But obviously there's a long way to go. Still got probably over an hour and 10 minutes left for these guys, at least. So there's plenty of time for it to go either way. Let's see, MadMega, he's got a decent amount of health, so he should be able to do the quick deboost on Hardman to kill him quickly, and he nails that fight, so good work there. Meanwhile, we've got MrCab just coming up to the monkey section. Let's see how he navigates this section. Yeah, he just does what I do, doesn't try and mash them down, just plays it nice and safe. So, got MadMega going into Top Man stage, about half a stage ahead of MrCab at this point. Quite a mash heavy stage if you're doing top first, but it's not so much a problem if you're doing either Magnet first or Gemini first, because you've got Magnet to get through the cats, which are the most mash heavy enemies. So you'll see MadMega switch to Magnet in a second, most likely. And you'll see it makes the cats a lot easier to get through than if you have to use Buster. I think it only takes about 5 or 6 magnets. Yeah, so it's only about 3 seconds to get through each mini cat. Takes a deboost off the top enemy, and it's pretty close to Top Man at this stage. Next screen MadMega's on is always a little bit concerning for me because it's easy to slide off one of these spinning tops. Hopefully I don't commentary curse him now. But it looks like he's playing it quite safe. He's not trying to get through it too quickly. Yeah, that's probably the best way to best approach in a race situation. You can get through it a few seconds quicker, but it's really not worth it when it's going to cost you 30 seconds if you end up dying. Gets an optimal kill on Top Man. And that's a pretty solid stage from him. So let's see what MrCab is doing. Just coming up to the halfway point of the stage. That's interesting, he switches to Magnet a bit earlier. Oh, possibly a mistake there. I was going to say it was an interesting slight strategy deviation compared to what you usually see runners do. But yeah, it looks like that was a mistake, so he's switched back to Magnet now. And he's going to carry on with that stage. So, meanwhile, we've got MadMega just starting Shadow Man stage. Coming up to his second proto fight of the run. See how his mash is. It's not too bad. You can obviously kill Proto when he's just touching the right wall, but it requires really good mashing ability to do that. Oh, having a little bit of difficulty with the Dark Room, it looks like. It gets through it relatively unscathed. So next screen can be a bit concerning, similar to the last screen of Top Man. It's very easy to fall into one of these pits. But it is a lot easier when you've got Magnet to get through it. Now, the main thing you need to watch out for with the Shadow Man fight is you don't want to be spinning while you're in Shadow Man's sprites, otherwise you run the risk of losing all of your weapon energy. So you can see MadMega was taking that quite safely there. He was making sure when he was spinning he was well away from Shadow Man's sprite, so he didn't run the risk of losing all of his shadow energy. And that is a big time loss if that happens to you, because you've got to switch to Buster and then attempt to Buster down Shadow Man, which is difficult at the best of times. So you probably got the most difficult stage coming up for MadMega, Gemini Man. It's one of the reasons why personally I do Gemini first, just because it's a very tricky stage to run. Let's see how he gets on with this first screen, which is one of the more difficult parts of the stage. That's interesting. He sticks to Buster for the whole screen. I know most runners do utilize Magnet for the second part of that Gemini screen there. But it's not much slower staying with Buster, so obviously if you're more familiar with that, then that's going to be the best thing to do. See if he gets the zip on the temple. Ooh, just missed it. Yeah, I think that's the only zip you're likely to see in the Mega Man 3 section of this category. I'll see if MrCab goes for it and if he gets it when he enters Gemini Man stage. It still seems to be a similar gap between them, possibly around 3/4 of a stage potentially. We've got another tricky section coming up for MadMega. A water section here, so we're going to see how this pans out. See if he goes for any single block slides. Possibly not in a race situation. Nice. Didn't die on that section. That's the most you can hope for in a no reset situation, really. So you got MadMega going into the Gemini fight. MrCab making his way through the end of the first screen. So we'll see if MrCab gets the zip here. No, he didn't quite get it as well. It's difficult to get the timing right on that zip. So yeah, no Gemini zips on this race, unfortunately. Looks like MadMega got through the Gemini Man fight pretty well. Coming into the latter half of the 8 robos. See MrCab again for this section because it's a really difficult screen. Oh, he's using Rush Marine. Probably quite a wise call to get through this section a bit more safely. Well, I say a bit more safely, but it still looks pretty dangerous. Yeah, obviously the good thing about using Rush Marine there is you don't have to worry about all of the different single block sprites that you'd otherwise have to navigate, so Rush Marine is, on paper, it's a safer option, but it's still something you've got to put time into learning. And MrCab gets a very solid kill on Gemini Man, and doesn't take any damage. It looks like MadMega was really low on health going into this fight, and I think he wisely used a E-Tank there. Because typically what happens on the Needleman fight is you almost always end up taking damage during that fight, and I believe he didn't have enough health there to even take one hit from Needleman, so it was a good decision to use one of his E-Tanks. There's not many sections in this run where you're likely to use an E-Tank in Mega Man 3, so yeah, it's not as if he's gonna be short for the last 2 robos. Famous last words, perhaps. Some awesome music for Snake Man stage now. I know it's a lot of people's favourite. So yeah, as a kid you may have struggled with these snake mini-bosses because they can take ages to kill if you're on Buster, for example, but you know, obviously when you see some speedruns and you see people just using Jet to just, well, go straight over the tops of them, you realise, you know, you probably spent way more time than you should have done when you first played the game trying to kill those snake mini-bosses. But hey, that's the great thing about speedruns, you get to see a lot of new strats that you may not otherwise know about. Ooh, looks like Cab just missed the laser on Needleman there. It's not the end of the world, but obviously it's a few seconds lost there, because you've got to wait for the Gemini laser to go off screen before you can fire again. He gets through the fight safely enough. Possibly lost a little more ground to MadMega at this stage, getting close to about 1 stage gap between them. But like I said, that can change very quickly in the remaining games. And you can see MadMega again utilising Rush Jet for that final screen. It's a really difficult screen if you don't have Rush Jet, but as you can see, very straightforward when you do have it. Okay, so 7 robos down for MadMega. See how MrCab is getting on through Snake Man stage. quite a laggy screen, the one he's traversing through at the moment. It's quite a trademark of Mega Man 3 in particular. There's a lot of sprite lag in this game. So we've just got MadMega going through Sparkman stage now. A couple of tricky sections here. Plays that one pretty safe and gets through it, because that is a screen I personally have historically died on quite a bit, the one he's just gone through. Okay, and then he just has this really long falling section that he's going through now. That's going to be followed up by a little bit of a mashing section, just to reduce a bit more lag on these junk blocks here. Again, because they're additional sprites, they just cause extra lag unless you take them out with some of your weapons. Okay, and MadMega gets through that last screen safely as well. So yeah, really solid Mega Man 3 from MadMega. Looks like, well, I believe it's deathless. I didn't see the first couple of stages from him, but I don't think he died, and that's always something to celebrate in Mega Man 3. It's such a difficult game. Okay, so I believe they have to wait for, I think it's 20 seconds after they finish a game before they can actually press start on the title screen. If you were wondering why he was just idling a bit there. And one thing I always used to struggle with on these multi-game runs is just transitioning between the games, because if you're watching them, you might think that, you know, they're all Mega Man games, they all have very similar mechanics, so surely it's going to be, you know, it's going to be very easy to just play through all of them. They're all going to play the same and feel the same. That's not the case at all. They all have slightly different quirks to each other, so obviously some of them it's more obvious than others. Like the first two Mega Man games, you don't have the slide function, whereas 3, 4, 5 and 6 you do. That's the most obvious difference, but then you've got lots of little subtle differences as well, like the length of the slide, the iframes of the enemies. So that's always a difficult thing to adjust to whenever you have to switch between the games at a moment's notice, like you do in this category. So yeah, I just want to point that out because it is really impressive to see people doing these multi-game runs, and it's not easy to adjust to them, you know, within a matter of seconds. So yeah, it's really impressive from these guys. So the main difference in Mega Man 4 is, as you can see, you've actually got something called the Mega Buster, which I believe does 3 times the damage of a regular Buster, as long as you hold B down to charge it up. So that's what MadMega's doing on this fight. You've got to switch between a charged Buster and a non-charged Buster just to sort of manipulate the Bright Man fight and make sure he doesn't freeze Mega Man in place. So you can see here he's not actually freezing Mega Man with his flash ability, because what MadMega did was he fired 2 charged Buster shots and then 1 single Buster, and that essentially manipulates the fight to ensure you don't get any freezes from Bright Man. So that was well played from him there. Meanwhile, we've got MrCab taking a slightly different route. So yeah, I guess we should probably mention there's 2 main routes you do in the Mega Man 4 speedrun. I think most runners do tend to go for Bright first, just because it's a more beginner-friendly route, I suppose. But you've got the Pharaoh first option as well. which is what MrCab is going for. And he's actually got the most, well, I'd say one of the most daunting parts of this category out of the way. I didn't comment on it, but it looks like I think he did grab the balloon, I want to say. But that's always a bit of a worrying section when you've got to jump over that pit and grab the balloon, because it's going to come in quite handy for the rest of these 8 robos in Mega Man 4, as you'll see. Oh, I mean, I missed that, but thanks for Creed and Popot in the chat for mentioning that Mega missed the balloon himself, unfortunately. So you're going to see some slight strategy deviations from the two of them in some of the upcoming stages, and this could be interesting because there's obviously a bit of a gap between them at the moment, and MadMega is ahead of where MrCab is. But you do lose time. Well, it's not a huge amount of time, but you do lose time from not having the balloon sub-weapon, which MrCab has and MadMega doesn't have. So you'll probably see the gap close up a bit between them as a result of that. The other thing to point out with Mega Man 4 as well, which may not be immediately obvious, is if you stand in a certain... well, it's literally an exact pixel after you kill a boss, you actually skip the jumping animation that Mega Man does before he teleports out of the stage. So it's a really minor thing, but obviously when you're doing speedruns, you want to go for all those minor optimizations because they do add up to time save. So MadMega actually got that quick teleport out of Pharaoh Man's stage. You can see the section here which MadMega's going through. So you would typically use the balloon utility weapon to actually get through this climb section of Ringman stage. It looks like MadMega has knowledge of the backup strats, at least, though, so that's a good thing. So he's been able to switch to Bright and get through it a little bit slower than you would with Balloon, but still relatively smoothly. So you've got MrCab doing the Brightman fight a slightly different way to how MadMega did it, because obviously he had the Pharaoh weapon to be able to get through it. Looks like he's got through it safely. And he also gets the quick teleport out of Brightman stage. So you've got those little, well, not little, those hippo mini-bosses in Ringman stage. Don't have to kill them. You can just take a damage boost off of them, and yeah, just skip through them quite quickly, as MadMega has done. But yeah, MrCab has definitely closed the gap, though. Because he was about a stage behind, and yeah, definitely less than a stage now, as you can see, because they're both still on the same stage. Okay, Ringman fight, as MadMega just did. It's yeah, it's an interesting one. A lot of the Robot Master fights in Mega Man 4, they're going to be slightly different from run to run. Whereas the Ringman fight, if you kind of learn the optimal way to kill him, you can just replicate that every single time you fight Ringman. The fight's going to go exactly the same. It's very predictable in that sense. As long as you don't mess up your inputs, then you can just replicate the same fight every single time. Oh god, tricky section MrCab is doing. Just about got through it there. Saw he missed one of his slide inputs, so that could have gone badly. So we've got one of the most laggy sections of Mega Man 4 on MadMega's screen at the moment. It's just tons of sprite lag happening on the screen. I think it's mainly because of the mini blocks you see that kind of forming the larger blocks here. They just cause tons of lag. Ooh, looks like MrCab just about got through Ringman fight as well, so that's good. And you got MadMega doing a Crusher section now. Well, he's going for the quick Crusher and he got it, that's good. Wasn't sure if he was going to get that. Very easy to die on that Crusher section there, which MadMega's just gone through. Just takes a missed input and then you can easily take a death on that section, so yeah, that was very impressive to get through it as quick as he did without dying. So we want to watch with Dustman now how many times he actually sucks, because that's going to delay the fight a lot if he gets bad RNG. He's had 2 sucks. Okay, well he had a decent amount of energy there, so he was able to deboost Dustman when he started sucking, and yeah, he didn't lose any time because of bad RNG, which can happen very frequently on that fight actually. So we'll see what happens when MrCab gets to him, see how his luck is. One of the important things on Dustman fight is you want to have a decent amount of HP going into it, so that, you know, if you do get bad luck and if you do get bad RNG with him, you can take sufficient damage boosts off of him. Oh wow, MrCab just about got through that Crusher section. That was really close again. But yeah, I'm glad he got through that. The stage MadMega's on now, Skullman. Doesn't... Okay, I was going to say it's one of the most fun stages to play just because you can utilise the... Oh, I've just remembered, he obviously doesn't have balloons, so that's why he's not using it. Let's see how the Dustman fight is going. Got 1 suck. Right, so he can't take a deboost off of him there because he's got such low HP. But fortunately, he only got 1 suck, so yeah, it could have been a lot worse. And didn't die, that's the main thing. So it looks like he only had 6 HP at the end there, and I think he does 8 damage if you try and deboost him. So that's why he didn't have that option there. But yeah, as I was saying, the Skullman stage, you can use the balloon quite a lot to get these wall jumps throughout the stage, which are a lot of fun to execute. And they look really cool as well, so let's see if MrCab goes that route and uses balloon. Oh, and there is a zip section on MrCab's screen here. See if he gets it the second time, or the third time. Okay, so he's just abandoned the zip, and yeah, possibly a wise thing to do. Yeah, if you fail it too many times, you just end up losing too much HP, and it makes the rest of the stage a bit of a struggle. So, taking the wise option there. Looks like these are backup strats then from MrCab, because if he had got the zip, he would have been on balloon. So he would have just used balloon for the rest of the stage. But it looks like he had to switch to bright, and he's just decided to stay on it now. Yeah, I would say the fact he is using these backup strats just kind of shows his knowledge of this game in particular. Because I personally don't even know the backup strats for a lot of these games. So I wouldn't have known what to do if I'd have failed that zip with Balloon. So yeah, it looks like MrCab was able to do that stage quite well, using Bright instead of Balloon. He's definitely lost a little bit of time though, just from that one stage. So we got MadMega about halfway through Dive Man stage. So you got these whale mini bosses coming up. Require a lot of mashing. Can kill them in one jump, which I think I've done once out of about, I don't know, 500 times that I've ever tried to one jump those whales, so it's really difficult to do. But I'm not good at mashing. You know, a lot of people are a hell of a lot better at mashing than I am, so it doesn't look like MadMega was able to do that either. Don't blame him. It's really difficult to do unless you're on Legacy Collection and you have auto fire or something like that. So he's just going to use Skull Barrier now to finish off Dive Man. Can be a little bit of a scary fight actually, Dive Man. Just because he does so much damage and you've got to get so close to his body. He got a quick sprite kill as well, the quick teleport out of the stage, sorry. Looks like MrCab did a 2-jump kill on that whale, so that's pretty good. So this next stage, which MadMega is going through now, this is it's a potential swing point, I suppose, just because of the boss that he's got coming up, Drill Man. Kind of similar to Dust in that they can really affect the course of a run if you get really bad luck with them. So what you want to look for with Drill Man to determine whether the runner's having good RNG or not is just whether Drill Man dives into the ground at all. So he always does it at the start of the fight, but if you have the best RNG, he won't do it again after the initial dive. So we want to see how often he does that for these runners. The stage is relatively straightforward though. Obviously you've got Bright by the time you enter this stage, so you can just freeze every screen essentially. Movement is still quite precise though, as you can see there's a lot of slide inputs which you've got to get correct. Yeah, that screen MadMega did there, it's much harder than it looks. But he got through it without dying, and that's the main thing. So let's see how many dives that Drill Man gives MadMega. So he does this one at the start. People have different ways of sort of timing his re-entry into the stage. So he's got one dive there. Fairly standard to get at least one. He's got two. Two's probably normal, I suppose. And that's bad luck to get 3. So, yeah, not a very lucky Drill Man fight there. We'll see how MrCab's one goes when he reaches him. I would say though, from what I've seen so far, it's just a really consistent run from MadMega. It's not really doing anything too risky that's going to get him killed. I don't think he's... well, I didn't see all of Mega Man 1 and 2, but I don't think he's died on Mega Man 3 and 4, and they're very easy to die on 3 and 4, to be honest. So, yeah, hopefully I haven't cursed him now and he gets through Toadman unscathed. So yeah, there's not too much happening on the Toadman stage. You're just kind of similar to Drill. You end up freezing a lot of the screens. So we'll see what happens with Cab's Drillman fight. Okay, that's not a good start. So you've got at least one dive for Cab. Ooh, at least 2 dives there. So he should be okay now to kill him. Yeah. So he had a slightly better fight than MadMega did, but nothing significant. I think it's about 5 seconds difference for each dive Runner gets. So we can say that, you know, Cab gained 5 seconds on that fight essentially compared to MadMega. So he's just... Oh. Yeah, it's always awkward, that section, because Bright tends to run out at a bit of a scary point just when you're getting over the last couple of platforms. But he seemed to anticipate that and didn't cause him too much trouble. So he got one of the easiest bosses in the Mega Man universe now, Toadman. Doesn't really do anything other than just dance at you. And yeah, that's a pretty impressive Mega Man 4 there, from MadMega. So again, he's got to wait a little bit just before he starts this game. I think it's 20 seconds. I don't know off the top of my head exactly where MadMega is strong, but I followed him for quite a few years, and to my knowledge, he mainly plays 5 and 6. So I suppose you've got MadMega sort of coming into his strong games at this point, and I know Cab is mainly known for his Mega Man 4 in terms of the Mega Man 1 to 6 games. Yeah, so I guess MadMega he'd probably be feeling a lot more comfortable at this point. I say that, and he just dies. So yeah, I'll take that one as a commentator's curse. So apologies there, MadMega. But yeah, you get all these letters in these stages in Mega Man 5. If you collect them all, you get Beat, which is, well, I'm sure most of you know, he's like a little bird that you can use. Don't have to do that in the 46 Robo Run. Did get another unfortunate death there, but I mean, this is the nature of Starman. It's a pretty frustrating stage, really. There's just so many precise jumps you've got to make, and like I mentioned earlier, when you're making the transition over from a different Mega Man game, so Mega Man 4 in this case, it's very easy to not be precise with your movement as soon as you're switching games. So yeah, I can't really blame MadMega there for taking those deaths. I think the first stage of a new game in this category is possibly, you know, always going to be the hardest. But obviously that's going to allow Cab to catch up a bit. But yeah, Starman, really frustrating stage. I think I've personally had maybe 500 attempts of this, and you know, majority of that has been resetting on Starman, just because, yeah, it's a very reset heavy stage. So kudos to Cab for getting through the stage pretty well there. You can see the gap has come right down, so he's just starting the Starman fight, and MadMega's just finished with it. I would say as well, well, I guess no one else has commented on it because there wasn't anyone doing commentary before I came on, but I think this So I suppose someone in chat can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this is the closest. It's the closest round 1 match on paper. So both these runners, you know, if you were looking at the matches before any of them started, on paper this should be the closest one of the entire round. And it's definitely proving to be that way as well. As you can see, the gap between them is, yeah, it's very narrow. So excited to see how the rest of these games go. So you can see MadMega, he's utilising the super arrow in this stage quite a lot. That's one of the, I suppose that's one of the main differences with Mega Man 5 compared to the other Mega Man games. There's a lot of tricks you can do with the super arrow just to let you get through the stages a lot quicker. And you'll see a very interesting trick coming up in a couple of stages' time, which again will involve the super arrow. I'll talk about that a bit more when we get to it. A pretty straightforward fight, the Gravity Man fights. Yeah, you just use the star barrier that you got from Starman and just jump into Gravity Man really until he's dead. It is an interesting stage, Gravity Man, because as you can see on MrCab's screen, you've got all these sections where Mega Man is upside down, so you've got to adjust your inputs accordingly. So, you know, most Mega Man runners will have it in their muscle memory to do down plus right to slide through majority of stages. Gravity Man, that doesn't work when you're upside down, so you got to do up plus right. Subtle difference, but yeah, it is a little bit jarring when you're not used to doing that. So again, on MadMega's screen, got a lot of super arrow utilization going on. And it's one of those things where I suppose someone who doesn't speedrun may not notice it. It looks really easy, the super arrow. If you haven't done all of these tricks, it looks like they're just placing it anywhere and getting on it and then getting through the screen. It's actually really precise with how you've got to place the super arrow to get through these screens as quick as these guys are getting through them. So there's a letter there which MadMega is just sliding over. He doesn't have to grab that in this category, but you would usually grab it in a full Mega Man 5 run. Unless, of course, you're doing a beatless run, which some runners do, if they're feeling lucky. See how MrCab gets through the rest of this stage, because there's not too much going on for MadMega through the rest of this. It looks like MrCab is having a pretty decent Gyro Man stage. See if he remembers not to grab the letter, which he does. He took that a little bit safer than MadMega did. Didn't slide across all those blocks. You can do that, but it's very risky. So yeah, MadMega did a really good job of getting through that screen as quick as he did. So you have a very interesting trick coming up on MadMega's screen. Well, I'm assuming he's going to do it. Again, I haven't really been watching Mega Man at all for a few months, so I don't know what these guys are doing or aren't doing. Yeah, so he's essentially going to teleport from the beginning of this stage to the end of it. And again, that's going to utilize Super Arrow, a very precise way of placing 3 arrows. Looks like he's got it, yeah. So he has got the crystal skip there, as we call it. You can tell because the enemy on the right side there, on MadMega's screen, doesn't have the little ball above his walking sprite. So that's the indicator to know that he definitely got the trick. Hasn't crashed or anything. Yeah, you need to wait about 20, I think it's like 30, 35 seconds, and then you'll see MadMega magically appear at the boss door. So that should happen shortly. See if MrCab can replicate MadMega's success there. So again, you've got to get to a very, very low amount of HP, which MrCab has done. Place 3 arrows in a very precise way. And he's also got it, so yeah, really good job from both the runners there. Again, it's one of those things, it looks very easy, but it's not so easy to place the arrows perfectly right and actually nail that trick, especially in a no reset scenario, so really good job to both of them. So you got MadMega about halfway through these robots now. 4 down, 4 to go. Going into Napalm Man stage. You got a section coming up on MadMega's screen, which can be a little bit scary if you don't mash down these things that are appearing as quick as you can. Yeah, you got through that okay, but sometimes you can miss a buster shot and then you can end up just sliding into one of those sprites, and I think that might be insta-death. I can't quite remember myself. But yeah, there's a lot of super arrow utilization going on again, even in this stage. So that one's not very precise, you just place 2 or 3 and you can easily get to the end of that screen. Oh, and then the other weapon, which is quite overpowered in Mega Man 5, is the gravity weapon, which MadMega's using at the moment. So a lot of enemies, if you just press the gravity weapon once or twice, it'll just kind of turn them upside down and they'll fly off screen. So it's a really effective weapon. I'll see how Cab gets through the waterfall screen. Yeah, he got through that pretty well. Well, yeah, not too bad. Ideally didn't want to take damage off that last helicopter enemy, but yeah, it's only a couple of seconds loss. He's doing that screen a little bit differently. I don't know if he ran out of super arrow there. It looks like he did, so that was why he switched to rush jets. So some backup strats going on there. Very low health on MrCab's part here. Yeah, I'm sometimes feeling a little bit too nervous to actually say anything on behalf of these guys, just because, yeah, I don't know. I see low health and I just think, you know, can't say anything just in case it puts them off. Napalm Man fight is quite straightforward though, so he should be okay not taking damage. Yeah, good job from MrCab, doesn't take damage on that fight, so low health wasn't a concern. Again, quite a lot of super arrow, which you end up using in Stone Man stage, which MadMega's on now. So I believe he's going to use 3 arrows on the screen to get to the end of it. I think he's high enough. Just about, yeah. So you can do this latter section, which MadMega's on a couple of different ways. You can use Rush Jet, like he's doing, or you can use Gravity. I tend to use Gravity just because it's a little bit safer. Rush Jet is quicker though, just for that section which you just saw him traverse there, which you can't do if you've got Gravity equipped. But it looks like he has opened up the gap a little bit, I think, MadMega. Maybe it's about the same. Still about half a stage, I guess, between the two of them. There's a little bit of RNG with this Stone Man fight, so you ideally want him to keep jumping around, rather than just collapsing in a heap on the floor, because when he does that, he's immune. So he did it a couple of times, but it's not really a massive concern like it is with, say, Dustman or Drillman in Mega Man 4. So we'll see how MrCab gets through this section here. Yeah, so this is what I do personally. I just use Gravity on this section, like MrCab's doing. Makes the section very safe to get through. And you've still got enough gravity left to use on this last screen for all the enemies that you need to get past. Okay, so MadMega was trying a really precise setup there to actually use Super Arrow for the entirety of this screen on Charge Man. He didn't quite get the placement he wanted, so he's going to lose a little bit of time here. And then you've got a pretty long train section now on Charge Man screen, on MadMega screen, sorry. A lot of precise crystal shots needed to get through it cleanly. Looks like he's done a really good job with that there. So you can sometimes get a bit of weapon energy off that last enemy there on that train section. If you're quick enough, you can switch to Super Arrow and then use it on this screen, which MadMega's on now. But it's pretty rare that happens, and you need quite good reflexes to react to that as well, so it's probably not something you'll see too often in this tournament. MrCab has got the trick which MadMega missed, so you can see he's just on Super Arrow for the entirety of that screen, or about 80% of it at least. So it's going to make up a bit of time there. And MadMega is... he's probably using the... I'd say it's probably the worst weapon in the Mega Man universe. It's just the Power Stone weapon there. It's really not useful for anything other than the Charge Man fight. I'm sure someone's probably thought of a use in another stage for it, but in the speedrun, yeah, it's really not useful at all other than for fighting Charge Man with. And it's quite an odd fight as well, actually, because you've got to keep... Because it causes so much lag to use Power Stone, you'll see it now with MrCab. You've got to use Power Stone, and then pretty much as soon as you press B, you've got to press Start again to get rid of the Power Stone sprites in order to be able to use Power Stone again, immediately again, instead of waiting for them to go off screen. So you can see they disappear as soon as you come out of the pause screen there, and you can use Power Stone straight away. Yeah, it's a little bit annoying when Charge Man just keeps stopping because he becomes immune when he stops. So sometimes you can end up switching and yeah, just missing your shots with Power Stone. Oh, MadMega going for a boat skip here, or not? Didn't quite see what he did with that bubble skip there. I think he failed it and he did like a backup. Yeah, he's going through quite a long, boring section of the final stage of Mega Man 5 now. It's pretty much an auto-scroller where you don't have much control over what Mega Man's doing, other than, well, you can't really move him that much. You just jump and fire, basically. We'll see what MrCab does, because that'll be a bit more interesting. So you got a bubble skip trick here, which we're going to see if MrCab can nail. Again, I'm not too sure if these guys are necessarily doing it. Looks like he's going for it. Oh, not actually. Nope. Yeah, you can get through that screen a little bit quicker with the help of Super Arrow. But again, you know, you need to consider this is a... Or I need to consider at least, this is a race situation, so you don't necessarily want to do tricks like that when they're going to cost you 10-15 seconds if you mess them up. So I don't blame him for not going for that. But yeah, it's still pretty close. I mean, they're both still on... Well, they were both on the same section of the game, essentially. This little auto-scroller bit. So yeah, last Robot Master at Mega Man 5, and then we're going to get into some Mega Man 6. Yeah, that Waveman fight is really... Well, I always find it really nerve-wracking, because you'll usually go into it with not too much health. And if you notice there, the way you kill Waveman is you've actually got to slide straight into him. So if you don't time this, if you don't sort of time or place the slides correctly, you can just end up taking damage from Waveman, which in turn gets your health really low. So it looks like MadMega just about survived that fight with Waveman there. And he's on to Mega Man 6. Main thing with Mega Man 6, which is different to the other games, which probably not going to notice because these guys have got such good movement. Yeah, the slide chaining is really difficult in Mega Man 6. You can't jump out at slides in this game like you can in Mega Man 3, 4, and 5. So if you want to jump after you're sliding, you've basically got to either press A, or you've got to press the opposite direction on the D-pad to manually stop Mega Man sliding, so that you can actually do a jump. But yeah, like I say, with speedrunners, you don't tend to really notice it because they're so used to the movement. It's not too apparent, but trust me, if you play this game and you're not familiar with Mega Man 6, the sliding mechanics are very, very difficult to adjust to. Oh. Hopefully that wasn't another commentator's curse there, but just slid straight into a pit as I was saying that. Probably one of the worst places to die as well, because it's right at the end of the stage. So it's probably cost him about 30 seconds at least, I want to say, maybe 40 seconds. So that sort of brought MrCab back into contention here as we go into the final stretch. Yeah, those little wind machines there, which MadMega was sliding over, they've got some weird sort of mechanics as well. They, know, they'll push Mega Man into the air in a bit of a unusual way, so can be hard to adjust to as well. Windman fight, which MadMega's doing now, it's kind of straightforward. You just charge up your Buster and then make sure you're avoiding those projectiles there. Yeah, nicely done. But you can see the gap has come right down, so MrCab is pretty much caught up at this point. Like I was saying earlier, I think this is one of MadMega's more familiar games of the 1-6 series. So I'd expect him to do pretty well here. I know when I was following Mega Man a bit more closely, I don't think MrCab was as familiar with Mega Man 6. Possibly he's practiced it a lot more though, so we will see how he gets on with the rest of the Robot Masters. We've got a really fun stage that MadMega's on, Flame Man. A lot of very precise movement that goes on here. And you want to make sure you kill a lot of these flying enemies that you'll see before they have a chance to drop their flames, which would otherwise ignite the floor. The little purple liquid, I guess, that you can see on the ground. So it's basically just like two long screens, Flame Man stage, but they're very technical screens, and there's a lot of really precise movement needed to make sure you don't die on this stage. Okay, good job. Just about got through it there. Keep in mind as well, when you see the flame, when you see the floor being completely lit up there by the flames, that is insta-death if you get hit by those flames. So hopefully we don't get a chance to actually see that on this occasion. Okay, good job. Both got through that without dying. I'm a little bit rusty with these games, so apologies if the commentary's not that good, but I haven't actually watched Mega Man for a few months at this point, so I'm a little bit out of it. So going into the third Robot Master, Blizzard Man, see how MadMega tackles this one. So you can actually switch to Flame Man's weapon right at the beginning of the stage and just use it for the entirety. Looks like MadMega is doing the first screen without it, and that'll just enable him to have a bit more flame towards the end of the stage, and it'll allow him to mash down both mini-bosses, both mini-squids that you'll see. Well, they're not mini-squids, but both are these squid mini-bosses. So he's mashed down the first one. And you've got quite a long boat section here, which can be quite scary to get through. So some runners can actually get through this super quickly without pausing at all like MadMega did then. But it's very difficult to do, so you'll see a majority of runners just waiting a bit there before they jump up to that top boat section, just to make sure they don't get crushed by the spikes. So you got MrCab just going past the checkpoint screen. He's about half a stage behind again. Oh, and Blizzard Man, he's one of those more RNG heavy bosses in this game, I suppose. You don't want him to roll so much. Whenever he starts rolling at you, you can't damage him. And it's just, yeah, it's obviously more time that you're losing, having to wait for him to finish his roll animation. So we'll see how the Blizzard Man fight goes for MrCab. So you can get a really godlike fight with Blizzard Man, and he can just not give you any rolls, but he's not feeling that generous today. So of course he's gonna give us loads of rolls. That's fairly normal though. I think most of the time when you fight Blizzard Man, you'll get, you know, maybe 2 or 3 rolls off of him. Okay, so they both got 3 rolls, so he was fair. That's the least we can say about Blizzard Man. Got a section coming up now for MadMega. Can be a little bit mash heavy to try and kill those gorilla tanks in 1 jump. 2 jumps is much more common, as MadMega did just then. And got another gorilla tank coming up. We'll see if he can 1 jump him. I think it's 4 shots, no, 6 shots I think to kill them. Yeah, so again 2 jump. This is an interesting section that MadMega's on. It's probably one of the most feared parts of this game, I think, for most runners, depending on how they want to tackle it, so we'll see what he does. Okay, so he's playing this quite safe. You'll see some of the more advanced runners, or, well, I shouldn't say advanced, but maybe more fearless runners just stay on Flame and not switch back to Buster. But what MadMega's doing, I think if he's seeing where MrCab is, it makes a lot more sense to do what he's just done there. And yeah, basically just switch to Buster and then do it that way. See what MrCab does, see if he's desperate enough to make up the time. No, so MrCab is also playing it quite safe there, doing it the same way as MadMega did. Again, I don't blame either of them, because, you know, if you try and do it the quick way by staying on Flame and you end up dying, then that's basically the end of your chance of winning. So, sensible option from both of them. You can also manipulate the boss fights that MrCab is on now, Plant Man, and get him to keep running around without his plant barrier. See if he got it. No, he didn't quite get it there. But yeah, you can see he shields up constantly during this fight, but there is a way to manipulate the start of it so that he doesn't do that, and he'll just run around for an extended period of time. Which again, just lets you get through the fight a lot quicker. So you've got quite a nice and relaxing stage now, once you get through Plant Man, so that's Tomahawk Man stage. I say it's quite relaxing just because there's barely any pits in this stage at all. And to me, I always found it very relaxing to play this stage, because you've had a really difficult stage after getting through Plant Man, and then you can chill out a little bit when you go through Tomahawk. You don't have to worry about being so precise with your movement. Oh, and the other thing, I guess maybe a lot of people are familiar with this, but all the Mega Man 6 stages are themed on different countries. So this one is, I believe it's, well, I say it's a country, I think it's just North America that it's themed on, hence why it's got like a sort of a cowboy theme going on with it. Although personally, I'm not really too into the Mega Man lore, so I'm not actually 100% sure what all the stages are themed on. But I believe the first stage, Wind Man, is based on China, second one, Flame Man, is India, I want to say. But yeah, I'm not certain of all of them. The fight which MadMega did just then, it can be quite precise because you've got exact plant barrier ammo to kill Tomahawk Man. If you mess up any of the plant barrier hits, then you have to switch to Buster or a different weapon to actually finish off Tomahawk Man. So we'll see how MrCab gets through that. So again, he's got to nail every single hit with the plant barrier on Tomahawk Man, otherwise he won't have enough ammo to finish him off. And he does it, so good work there. It sounds quite a basic thing to say, you know, just make sure you don't hit the Robot Master while he's in iframes, but like I said earlier, it is actually quite difficult to do in this type of category because the boss iframes are different on every single Mega Man game that you play. So coming from, say, Mega Man 5 onto Mega Man 6, you've got to adjust your perception of the boss iframes just that little bit so that, you know, you don't end up wasting any ammo unnecessarily. So we're going to see the first usage of Rush Jets on MadMega's screen here. It's quite a useful little gadget that you can employ. Just let you fly up some ladders and get through various sections a bit quicker. But you do have a very limited amount of jet ammo to use before you've got to let it recharge again. So you've got MadMega going into the Yamato Man fight. It's not that interesting, quite an easy fight. So something you'll see with some of these Mega Man 6 bosses is they've got like two distinct moves, well, most of them have two distinct moves. So for example, this one here, as you'll see on MrCab's screen in a second, Yamato Man, he can either fire a spear horizontally, or he can jump up and just sort of diagonally shoot some weapons at you, but he only does that, each of those moves twice in a row. If you see him do the same one twice, he'll do the other move the third time. So he's jumped up twice there, so he'll do the next one as a horizontal shot, as you saw. So although you can't predict exactly what the Robot Master's going to do, you kind of can in some situations, depending on what their combat pattern has been during the fight, as long as you're paying attention. So we've had another Crusher section there, which MadMega's just got through. It can be quite scary because it's a insta-death section, but you got through it safely. Nightman can be a bit of a scary stage to go through, mainly because of that Crusher section. So, you know, hopefully both runners get through it okay. MadMega has got through the Crusher section. MrCab is just doing it now. Yeah, so if you take damage at exactly the right point on that screen, you can essentially use Mega Man's iframes to get through the spikes. But again, that's one of those things which you kind of take for granted when you're watching. It doesn't look like it's difficult to do, but it's very precise the way you've got to time it to make sure you can get through that screen without dying. So MadMega has opened up a little bit more of a gap. It has been quite an even Mega Man 6, to be fair. But it looks like MadMega is just about stretching into the lead. And we are just about coming to the end of this as well. So he's got one stage left to go. Centaur Man. And then we'll know for sure who is going to progress to the next round. Got a little bouncy section that MrCab is doing. Lots of springs that move Mega Man in either direction. The thing you want to watch for the during the Nightman fights is how much he jumps. You don't want him to jump a lot. If he stays on the ground, that's what every Mega Man speedrunner wants. You just want him to stay in one place and just fire at you, or just walk towards you. That's also good. Yeah, so once he starts jumping, that can be quite annoying and can be quite a time loss, but you only gave him one jump, so that's not too bad. So yeah, we got the home stretch for MadMega. Not the easiest final stage you'll see in a Mega Man game. As you can see, there's spikes lining the ceiling, spikes on the ground. You'll see in a second there's pits which you can fall into on the next screen. So there's loads of ways you can die in this stage. Okay, that's a very tricky section that MadMega just did. You've got to slide on the spikes, but you've got to make sure you jump off them just in the nick of time. Otherwise, again, that's just instant death if you mess up your inputs at all. If it was me, I'm usually thinking at this point, that's the end of the stage, basically, because there's not too much going on for the rest of it. He's just playing it ultra safe at this point. A little bit scary there, getting pushed towards the edge of the water. But yeah, if he's following where MrCab is, then he's definitely doing the right thing. He's just taking it really nice and slow through the final few screens here. MrCab's doing a good job as well. He's playing it relatively safe, but not making any mistakes really. Okay, and we got the final few seconds of the run for MadMega. And good job, that's about 1:51:53, decent time. GG. Not too sure what his PB is, so I'll just have a quick look. Yeah, we've got MrCab just finishing up the run as well, not too far behind, so he's done a really strong run too. And GG for MrCab. So you got both of them within 1 minute of each other, so that's really impressive showing from both of them. So yeah, good job guys. A really good race, that definitely could have gone either way. Just have a quick look and see what their PBs are. MrCab won. Ooh. Well, if the leaderboards are accurate, looks like that's quite a big PB for MrCab. Shown as 1 minute 57:12 on the leaderboards. So he's beat that by quite a margin there. So yeah, if I was him, I'd be pretty darn happy with that. MadMega has a PB of 1 minute 1 hour 50 minutes and 30 seconds. So MadMega's about 1 minute 23 behind his PB. But yeah, GG guys, that's really good going. I don't know if you guys are doing interviews or anything, but if not, then I guess that's me done. Wasn't expecting to be doing commentary at 3 AM in the morning, but hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Runners, obviously, were the main stars of the show. Did a really good job. So yeah, definitely follow those guys. They are both really good Mega Man speedrunners. MadMega and MrCab. But yeah, I'll call it there. Thanks for watching, and I'm sure there will be a lot more from this tournament in the coming weeks. So thanks everyone, and have a good rest of your nights.